Okay, guys. So somebody asked me for a little video in the one uh previous video. Okay, so they asked me what is my love for the vintage yard equipment. All right. So when I was growing up, this 502 wheel horse, my dad ran all over the place. It had an 8-horse Briggs. The hood never was on it. It was maroon, and my dad wore the 8-horse out. Uh, had it rebuilt, put it back in there. Uh, ran it for a couple more years. Then I found this Kohler, and then when we heard that Dad was diagnosed with cancer and whatnot, actually before the diagnosis, I started digging around for parts to redo that. That was in 2017, and we got it completed before he passed. It has not ran in over a year, but, that tractor there is what started it all. Alright? Now, how did I end up from a wheel horse to what I have now? Reminder, all my dad ever did with that thing, he tried mowing with it once or twice. He didn't really care for it. Because it was having deck issues because the deck was ruined. So, it always had the snowplow on it. So, you know. So how did I end up with the Sears? Well, the Sears started with this thing. This thing, my dad bought around when I was like 6 or 7 from the neighbor. Mosquitoes are coming out. It quit running on the neighbor. So, my dad brought it home, tore it all apart, didn't know what was wrong with it. Until he inspected the points. The points had broke. He didn't have anything to get it back together with or anything like that. So the engine that was in this originally, which isn't the original engine, sat in the shed for over almost 20 years. And when I started messing around with the Sears, we threw an 8-horse Briggs at this one. And I got it up and running. He mowed with it for a while. And I was going back and forth to the junkyard, this and that. And then here comes this one. And I fixed it all up. And Dad blew 2 transmissions out of it. Then we did the rear frame swap. So, and then the 8-horse Briggs that was on the wheel horse ended up on this one, which it lasted on here until after he passed, and it was just wore out. The cam gear was all sloppy on the crank. I just didn't want to mess with it. So, it got this engine. This engine's starting to smoke a little bit here and there. So, it's time for another engine. But, anyway, me or him never had experiences with 3 points or nothing like that, other than he used to work on a farm at one time. So he knew some farming experience. So, when it came to these little tractors and their 3 points, it was a big game changer for me. Because I didn't know any of it. So, that's where the spread of the Sears came from. Then I got the 15. I had an SS16 prior to that, an ST16 also. Those both ended up going away because I had issues with them. But I got the 15, and that was my main one for years. Till I sold it like a dummy. So, you know, it all stemmed from my childhood. The grater blade, I used that a lot on the 15 when I had it before. I have to redo that grater blade again. I mean, of course, sitting outside isn't doing any good, but it doesn't want to turn that well. Ever since I even redid it before I redid it, it didn't want to turn any good. I have to get in there and sandblast to get some of the rust out of there. So it'll rotate fully, you know. Then I just started collecting after Dad passed. I got into the ropers, which is the same thing as the sears, just a different hood and grill and fenders. So, you know, it all stemmed from my dad. The main thing I remember from my childhood, he set me on that 502 and drove it across the yard with him walking alongside of it. I don't even know if there's a picture of that. But it would be nice if there was, but I doubt it. So, and this is funny. When I was a kid, I'd always sit on the seat and flip the kill switch on and off. He would always joke with me and say, "Stop clicking that. You're going to run the battery down." There was no battery in it. But anyway, guys, that's basically where it stemmed from. Also, my grandfather, who's still living, he had mid-sized cub farm tractors, like a lowboy, but the taller ones. He also had one lowboy also. He had the farm 1947 Farmall H also, and he gave that to my cousin last year. So, you know, because I don't have any use for it. I can't maneuver it on this property. That thing's big. But anyway, that's pretty much where this all stemmed from. Was from my dad. And the Sears one stemmed from this little guy here. This custom. So, alright guys. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.